So it's looking pretty obvious that the main theme for everyone these days is how hard life is. You know, it's like, oh, with inflation, it's so hard to pay my bills. And look what's going on out in the world. We got all these politics and wars going on and immigration and all this nonsense. And now they got AI and it's taking away creativity and stealing from people and all this crazy stuff's going on. And I don't know if I can cope with this because it's just a lot of nonsense. There's no downtime. There's no stress-free time. So this stress and this anxiety is commonplace. Almost everyone has it on a regular basis. And I mean, it's really because everyone just wants to succeed in life. They just want to live their life. And like, I get that. I'm there. I want to live my life too. We all just want to be happy. We just want to make it. We just want to pay our bills and be happy and go and do fun things, and everyone else is chilling too. But when you look at everything going on, you can't. I mean, there's so much and it's just so overwhelming. So like, I get it. I'm Nathan, your empowerment and freedom coach, and I'm here to help you live your best life. You will see results when you apply what I have to teach, and don't forget to stay to the end because that's where a lot of the solution to what we're talking about is at. So I'm going to be real with you. The reason why that so much of this is so extremely pervasive throughout society, it's really because of, like I always said, the contrast between what's happening in day-to-day lives and in the world compared to, you know, that thing that people just want to relax. They just want to live their life. Because we were all children once. And so we know what it's like to just live life stress-free and not really worry about things on a grand scale and to just, you know, chill out. Not to mention the fact that as a society, humans are really just honestly taught to be disempowered with many different belief systems. Like maybe you believe you need to work at a job that you don't like in order to pay the bills. You have to struggle to make an income and it's so hard and it's difficult. And then all the rich people, they're just taking all the money and they're just hoarding it all. They're hoarding all the wealth, and that's why the world is fucked. We're taught that there's no power in an individual, that you can't change the world, that it's already too late, whether it's global warming or, I don't know, anything, pollution, like money, the powers that be, whatever they're doing, it all seems so unchangeable from one person. You sit there and you're like, we have to come together as a society, and we all have to come together because of this power in numbers, which is a extrapolation of the belief that power comes from the external, from physical force, from money, from, you know, anything like that, that's where power comes from. And then, like I'm saying, with all this stuff happening in the world, there's the belief system that what they are doing can affect you, that anything that anybody does can affect you, that you have to worry about it, that you have to do something about it in order to not let it affect you. So it's this whole entire problem that you have to fix. And you have to give your attention to it because this is the only reality we live in, and we got to do something about this in order to get to a better place. We have to fight and resist, right? So really, it's just a whole storm of nonsense, and it gets so overwhelming, and then nothing gets done because of how much focus is placed into the problems and the nonsense and the chaos. And that's the energy that people put out when that's what they focus on. But if you're any sort of spiritual, you've probably heard that life is not really kind of as real as we think it is. It's more of like a dream. It's like an illusion. So if that's the case, then, well, why is it that we still kind of hand our power to external things when we know that power actually does come from within, and that's the only place that it comes from? So really, there is infinitely more power in an individual than there ever is in every person on the planet all coming together as one. And you want to know why? It's because that's not going to happen. Not 100% of people are going to come together, not even the majority of them. Everyone has different perspectives and views and agendas and beliefs and expectations and etc. So, sure, there's a grand majority of people who want a better world, but there's so many different ways people think to go about that. And here's a big idea that I don't honestly see a lot of people that are in the spiritual community really understanding, and that is, you are the only person that exists. You're the only thing in your reality. There's no out there, there's only in here, and everything else is an illusion being projected by your consciousness. It's an illusion. It's a mirror of you. So it's not about changing or fixing the world that you're on, because that's impossible, because there's no out there. You can't change the out there. Not directly. You do it indirectly by changing the in here, the inner self, and you shift to a reality where everything is better. And this is really like the law of attraction. What you give your attention to grows. If you're giving your attention to the Illuminati and all these rabbit hole conspiracy theories and the corrupt police and human trafficking and all these bad things, if you give it your attention in a problem sense, in a negative sense, in a, oh no, we need to solve and fix this problem, then it will remain as a problem, because you're giving your attention to it as a problem. And as long as the problem is part of your equation, it won't go away because you're giving your energy to it. You're like, the problem is on channel 5 and the solution is on channel 6, and you think you need to go to channel 5 in order to solve the problem instead of just going to the solution on channel 6. So it's like, yes, we do need to do something about these things, but it's not about solving and fixing or attacking a problem. It's shifting to the frequency of the solution. Now, as far as how that is applied to every single situation or problem out there, I don't know. It's a case-by-case basis, obviously, but there is solutions that don't involve, going on about the problem and woe is us. It's about empowering the ones who are, quote-unquote, destroying the planet and corrupting and whatever, empowering those people to be their true self and not acting out of fear by you being your true self. And you shift to the reality where they are that way. The fact remains is that life is a match to your vibration and your belief system. So if you have a belief system that says that there's a corrupt force out there destroying our planet, you're going to manifest that as your reality. You will shift into that reality where, the world falls apart. There's realities out there where the world has ended. There are, because there's infinite realities. Any variation of any outcome, of any reality, of anything you could possibly imagine, it exists. It's out there somewhere, because there are infinite possibilities. So when you are giving so much of your attention to the problem and what's wrong with the world, you shift to a world where there's many problems and there's so much wrong. And that's why so many people are really just, so stressed out and in so much anxiety, because of the disempowerment that they're taught to continue to give their attention to all of these problems. Especially with how everyone regurgitates what's going on, and with the news media literally fabricating problems and making things way bigger than they ought to be. And that's why it's important to remember that everyone is only in their own reality. You're the only one here, but everyone else is in their own reality. They are their own individual persons, but they're not necessarily in your reality. They can't affect you unless you say that they can affect you. So like, let's say, you see this news story, you get worried about it, and you put off this vibration of fear and vulnerability and resistance and antagonistic, we gotta go and, do something about this, right? Like we gotta, resist or attack. That's where you find yourself ending up in that conflict even more. And then there's a bunch of consequences that you don't want, because that's where you gave your attention. That's the story you told. That's the story you continued to narrate and write and extrapolate upon. Or you could go with option B. You see the news story, you recognize it as something unpreferred because it brings up emotions of fear and anxiety, and then you pay attention to those emotions because emotions are the indicators of alignment to what your preferred timeline is. And you're like, oh wow, these emotions are telling me that this isn't part of who I am. I don't need to fear. I don't need to be anxious. I don't need to worry. So none of that matters. Who cares what they are doing? That's nonsense. I'm gonna get back to who I am. I'm gonna go do something that makes me feel good, that brings me ease. Or I'm gonna find a solution that is of a positive energy. I'm gonna shift to a solution energy. And then you find yourself at a peaceful, state of life, and you really kind of don't see a lot of the problems, and you shift to a reality where problems aren't really happening. Like, I'll kind of give you an example of this, actually. During COVID, when all that nonsense was going on, I was very adverse to all of the restrictions being placed on us. We all noticed that it was everywhere. Everyone was hardcore serious about, all these safety things we got to do. And I found myself in a little bubble, this little pocket reality where I got a job, and nobody in the job wore face masks. Nobody. None of the customers, nobody was vaccinated, nobody did anything. It was so amazing. It was just like working back in 2019, It was just like that. And it was amazing. But it was just this little bubble, this little pocket in reality where that wasn't really the case, where people were looking at it differently, and everyone that came through literally just didn't adhere to the same ways that people were behaving in the rest of, what I was seeing. So it really is. You're shifting through dimensions, and well over trillions of times a second. That's how we experience the passage of time. It's like, every dimension is like a frame on a film reel, and we're moving through the frames. So when you give your focus to all this nonsense, you move through those frames to a frame you don't want to be on, because you're putting out energy you don't want to be feeling. Like, it's really not about coping. It's not about finding meaning in the struggle. No, it's realizing that everything is here to benefit us. Everything is good. This is just a dream. And it's like, no matter how crazy and chaotic it gets, just like in a dream, you wake up from a crazy and chaotic dream, and you're like, wow, that felt so real, but it wasn't. And I'm good now. So that's what it is. You're actually good. You're literally just sitting in spirit right now, dreaming about this physical life. It's a movie. You're in a movie right now. This is all just, I wouldn't say fiction, but it's likened to that. It's not real. There's no, you're not gonna die. You're okay. And even if things go terribly wrong for you here, you can do it again in another life. So what it is about is realizing that everything's a-okay. All of the power lies in you and what you put your focus on, and how you go about your life with your belief systems and your definitions on what is and isn't, because everything is neutral. Everything. It's you who has the ability to give meaning via your definitions. If you define what's going on in this world as negative and bad, as in a judgment level, not as in Because obviously there's a negative as like mechanically speaking, like in a separation, like segregation, not in an emotional way, but in just in a mechanical way, because there is negative and positive. But it's when you label it as negative in this is bad and it's terrible. That's when it solidifies it, and then you just stay in that reality. So like, forget about it. Forget about what they're doing. Who cares? Like, is it worth your happiness? Is it worth you not manifesting this new earth that we're all going for? Because that's how they get you. That's where their power comes from, is when you hand it to them. They don't have any power otherwise. And when you focus on the problems and worrying about what they're doing, and we gotta go have this spiritual battle between light and dark for the fate of our planet. And no, that's how you keep the war continuing. That's how you stay in this chaotic, corrupt, nonsense planet, is by, all that, by making it part of the equation. Like, think about it. If there was a movie and you removed the villain from it, there wouldn't be a conflict, right? But you're making the villain because you're telling a story about a villain. You're writing about a villain. And you're going on and on and on and on and on about what they're doing and how bad it is and how worried you are for the future. And oh no, what are we going to do? Oh no. Except every generation before us ever has said those exact same things. Oh no, look at the world and the state of it. Everything's bad. We're so worried about what's going to happen. Oh no. So what's the answer then, How do you really do it other than just focus? Well, it is focus, yes. It's about giving your attention to things wanted, giving your attention to solutions of the problems, not including the problem in that equation, but the solution only. It's about taking action on what inspires and uplifts you. It's the formula. That's how you do it. You apply Bashar's formula. If you ever heard of Bashar, it's his formula. You take action on your passion to the best of your ability, whatever excitement it is. And that excitement doesn't have to be big and grandiose. It can be drinking a cup of coffee, but take action on it and move on to the next excitement. Take action on that. Just keep taking action to the best of your ability with no insistence, no expectation on the outcome. Don't go out there and take actions and expect that the world has to be perfect now that you're taking actions. And then, work on your limiting belief systems and let them go, because your triggers are going to come up to show you those limiting beliefs. That's what they're there for. And you will shift to a reality when you let go of needing it to be what you want it to be. There are so many things that are out of your control. Forget about those. Don't worry, but give your attention to what you can give control to, which is your energy, what you're talking about, what you're thinking about, what your belief systems are, all the energy that you give. And reality will truly change when you really just let go of it all. Just who cares, Just focus on doing you. You don't gotta solve the problems. No one is here to save the earth. That's a fallacy. That's actually, it's a very egotistical fallacy, because it's just, really, I'm not gonna get into it, but there's really nothing to be taken seriously about any of this. It's a game. This is a game. It's a movie. When you turn the movie off, it's no longer there. And the fact remains is that the grand intention of so many of us is to get to a much better Earth. So, that solution is already out there. You know that, right? That perfect little solution, that little perfect present box, it exists right now. This Earth where everything's good and everyone's treated equally and nicely, or whatever, whatever, right? Just go on about that. But that exists right now. It's out there right now. And so the more you give your attention to that, taking actions as that person would, say, rehabilitation centers or something for certain people, those are solution type actions. Not rioting, not protesting, not like arguing and fighting and screaming. No, that's not it. But we are shifting to that earth. We are shifting towards it. That is the purpose of kind of why we're here, is to transmute all of this nonsensical darkness. It's really exacerbated so that we can change it. Because this is the time. The time is now. The time is right now for our planet to start taking steps towards a much better future, a much more golden age. It truly, some people think that we're going to go extinct. They do. They think that, I don't know, or like an totalitarian government. And yeah, that's a reality out there somewhere. That's one of those realities out of the infinite multitude of realities. And you can shift there, like I said, by worrying about it and by fighting and resisting and going against. But you don't want to be there. I know you don't want to be there. I know you want to be on this amazing, perfect earth where everything's great and we don't worry is a thing of the past, as in a very grand scale. So just follow Bashar's formula and let go of caring about what's going on out there, unless you're one of the few who's inspired to act on a solution for one of these situations, not problem. But keep your energy good. Keep it good. And don't beat up on yourself when it's not. Don't judge yourself when you're not perfect. That's even worse. But just let it go. Just relax. It's okay. Yes, there's a lot of suffering. Yes, it's a lot of hardship. And the levels of the depth of suffering that we achieve on this planet is deep. But it is a game. We came here to see if we could truly transmute from the depths of darkness into light. That's one of the beauties of why we're here, to truly transform extreme darkness into light. And then so that other beings out there can look at us and say, wow, they did that in such a dark place. We can easily do that in our planet or our reality, wherever they're at. We can easily do that. Like and subscribe if you resonate with this. Maybe leave a comment about how you might have gotten lost in the sauce. Because we've all done it. We've all been there. But go ahead and check out some of my other content for more information on self-empowerment and living your best life. And as always, thanks for watching.